Welcome to MMO Grinder's Sidequest, where I take a look at early open or closed betas, subscription trials, and simpler titles, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Dauntless, an upcoming free-to-play Monster Hunter-inspired clone that's currently running in a pretty early closed beta, with a vaguely projected release date of 2018. While I'm no fan of Monster Hunter in any capacity, let's see if this game's more-to-the-point style will help bring me on board to the idea, while the rest of the gamers ignore it for the pending arrival of Monster Hunter World. I'll not hold my breath for a PC version of that game anytime soon, so this is it for me at the moment. Having a very distinct style, Dauntless eschews Monster Hunter's stylish realism for very angular and cartoon-like worlds. They look decent for this style, with an interesting sparkle effect for seas of snow or sand, and a lush forest that you might get stuck into. Literally, with little to no chance of escaping. Tree Boss is the hardest boss. Characters look, interesting. I mean, if you're looking to recreate your favorite original characters, or yourself, you might just be better making a proper monstrosity, as no one's winning any beauty awards, and it's pretty funny to see what kind of goofy mug you can walk around with. Contrastly, though, the monsters you face have some really clever and creative looks. I mean, okay, the Shrike and Scrave are literally owl bears with two different feather colors, but the new edition Skarn has this amazing floating armor plate mechanic, sheltering a behemoth lizard, while the Drask gurgles and roars to announce some of its attacks, as its throat sac throbs along with it. All subtle moments and graphical hints that you can use to understand the attacks that might be incoming. Sound itself is varied, but not entirely out of place. The music is fairly fantasy-focused. I still feel like the orchestrations that happen post-match remind me a little too much of Overwatch. Battle-wise, there's lots of impacts for heavy hits and swift sword slashes that all help to accentuate the attacks, especially when an attack gets a very satisfying crack or slash to indicate damage to a particular monster part, or a hit that can cause the enemy to stumble or cancel a major attack. As a Monster Hunter clone, it serves that you will spend the game hunting monsters. You choose an area or a specific monster, head to the zone, and search for it to engage in a pretty intense and lengthy battle. The game is a city hub serving as the launch point for all of quests, hunts, and crafting, but I'd really appreciate a training area of sorts so I can get used to how each weapon quirk works, as going on a hunt isn't the best time to figure out how to use your Warpike's cannon. Speaking of, weapons are typical of the improperly large medieval weaponry of this genre, but they're more scaled back than Monhun's typical offerings, and some even contain a slight sci-fi edge to them. Each weapon consists of a primary, secondary, and special attack, using left-click, right-click, and Q respectively, but no weapon performs like any other. For example, the sword is simple combos and slashes with some speedy options, and a special that blasts out a wave when fully charged and boosts your attack power for a duration. The Warpike, however, can either toss out quick jabs, be twirled around like a staff for quick short-range attacks, and store the damage that it causes as a special shot with Q, which can then be held down and aimed to fire it. Hammers and axes are both slow, lumbering weapons, but the hammer's secondary is a shotgun, and the special is relegated to reloading its ammo, while the axes use a horizontal or vertical swing that you can charge up for massively damaging strikes. Speed-focused players can also use the chain blades for a decently long-ranged, combo-heavy quick damage attack, set with a special relegated to closing or widening the gap between your target at a moment's notice. It makes experimenting with each to find a suitable playstyle useful, while each weapon brings a useful purpose to the fight. Finding monsters is easily done with a lantern. Just hit V when fully charged and a trail of light particles will float away in the direction of the behemoth that you're seeking. Later on, you can craft differing types of lanterns that can give you slight regenerative heal, shield you, or give you a stamina boost if you think you'll be fine finding the monsters on your own. Healing can also come in a limited form from the potions you equip or the fissures that appear near every behemoth, though there are a limited number of charges in each fissure that your entire team will have to share. It's too bad that going in with a random group means you might end up with some very FYGM people, who will end up consuming the entire fissure's worth of healing power whenever a Nasher just coughs somewhat near them. It's not to say that everyone is kinda jerkish in the game, far from it, despite what the representation of the colorful names in general chat conversations would have you to believe. But by the time you reach Monstrous Verge or beyond, players have a handle for the game and tend to act less destructive towards their teammates. Annoying, however, is how often queues might end up a player or two, or worse, 3, short, forcing you to fight a monster meant to be slain by a team of 4 with a severe handicap. There's been plenty of times I've been forced to cancel a daily duel hunt when I was the only one arriving to it. Then again, this team I was on ended up down a player, and we still took out a Scrave with 2 pikes and a hammer, so what the hell do I know? Get good, I guess. Cash Shop took a major change when implemented. Originally it had a loot box system like all the cool kids, but the recent controversies and others lamenting the issue in general caused Phoenix Games to completely reverse their stance on that practice, opting to allow cosmetic purchases to be bought outright. Though the inclusion of healing items in packs have people getting upset, especially those who use them constantly, and find that crafting them is now suspiciously more grindy and inconvenient. But hey, it's an actual closed beta. If you're gonna voice a problem with the way the game is handling something, now is the time to do it, while the devs are still listening to you, and the inevitable fanboy cult hasn't fully risen to power yet. Overall, I can see a lot of tweaks needing to be done. I also seem to be one of the few that actually prefers this new update over the old style of play. Yeah, there's sloppy, rough edges everywhere still, and the game is under obvious construction. The grind to further yourself into the game is a bit more intense now, but there's still something quite enjoyable about this title, even if it's best played in a few short bursts here and there. Still, I'm certain I'll see more character wipes as things continue to be adjusted, and hopefully if Monster Hunter World hype doesn't crush the title flat, I have at least one game to look forward to seeing next year. This has been an MMO Grinder Sidequest, and it's time I logged out.